Welcome back. I'm Pacific Carrier Guy, and we're starting right back up. We're looking at Warplan specific. We're looking at all the different buttons, all the different layouts, everything you can look at, everything you can kind of just a brief overview of the UI and what you can see, what you can do. This is part two. If you haven't seen part one, go look at part one. Uh, but we're talking here, we've been talking about units. Right now, we're talking about units about what we can see. And this is where those options come into play. Click on the options, and now you look at land units. Now, right now, I have it set shows average combat factors and operations points. So, in other words, this unit has two average combat factors, has zero operation points. In other words, I know it's got a combat value of 2 and it's got no operation points. I could click until now I see it has a 1 attack, a 2 defense, or I could tell it, okay, it's got 8 strength and it's got zero operation points. I can also, if you'll notice, hover my mouse over it, and I can see just you can barely make it underneath my mouse, but it says 25th Division, 8 out of 10 strength, 100% effectiveness. I can change that where that does not come on by hitting details, not details, it's unit hover on or off. Uh, I like showing combat value and operations points. Look at my air unit. It's got a lot of love for information. Your operation dots. You can just make out two little dots. That triangle, that blue triangle, means it is in support mode. And at the bottom, I can see my air to air, my tactical, my naval, and up here is my strategic. I can just have it show air to air, tactical, and operations. I can go operations dots and then air to air, tactical, and naval, or I can have it show my strategic. Ships, same thing. You look here, I've got to show operation dots. This fleet has two operation points. It means basically two moves, two things it can do. It's got 2 points worth of carriers, a 16 surface. It's got no transports, and I can change it to say different things. But honest with you, I just wanted to show me. Now that's not attack value. That's size. So I got 2 points worth of carriers in size, 16 points worth of surface in size. This is what I like. You may like something else. You may want something else. That all depends. Right now, this is set to show numbers. I can go up here to options and I can click unit unit text displays bars or units. I could click it, tell it to display bars. Now when I click it, now I just get bars. You might want to play with that. I don't know. I like unit text. So now I see the exact numbers. So we've quickly ran through some things. We've showed the AI, or not the AI. We've showed the map. We got the West Coast over here. We've showed units. Now we're going to get a little bit into the turn. And first we need to find out what happened last turn. What exactly did the Japanese do? And now we can click here and we can see, okay, well, and you can click that where I go, you go up combat log. We can see what's going on the current turn. We can see what's going on the last turn. Last turn was Japanese turn, so we click. Well, they invaded right there. Okay, I would say they took no losses. We weren't defending, so of course there weren't no losses. And we see they took all this land, and units do have a zone of control, and it took Port Surabaya, which is a size 4 port. A port size determines a lot of things. It determines how much protection ships in that port have. It determines how many ships a port can supply. It also determines how many land units a port can supply. This is a size 4 port. 20 times the size 4 means 80. That's the maximum supply this port can have is 80. So maximum, it could supply 80 strength worth of land units. That's a lot. A corps, an army is 30, so it can supply, theoretically, 2 armies and then a corps. Now, that 80 is its maximum. It's not really realistic because depending upon how far this port is away from its supply source, see, Japan can't really just get port supply out of this port. That's the supply has to travel from some Japanese supply source, and it travels all the way down here, and that degrades how much supply this port can have. But Japan invaded there, and then they invaded here and took Bandar Lamping, and then they invaded here, and then they invaded here, and you see they're not taking much losses. Then they invaded Guam. They invaded here. Now that's just invasion. And let me zoom in here. See that little bit of land? That means that's a beachhead. So they got to the beach right here. That's all that this is showing me right now. Then they landed at the beach of Wake Island. These islands are very small, and so they're represented by 1 hex. As you see, well, where do you land on 1 hex? Well, you land right here. This shows you where you can put your transport to invade it. And that's what they did up here at Wake Island. They moved. They tried to invade. We had a unit here. They destroyed the unit, but they didn't have enough to move in and completely take Wake Island. If we had another unit that could move in and get right here, we could put them in right here, and he would have more trouble taking this. But we don't have anything. And just so you'll know, while we're talking about this, we talked about in the last episode, Manila is blockaded. This, anytime you have a good sized landmass, anything other than a 1 hex, like anything other than a 1 hex island, it takes 3 naval units to blockade the port. So I click here and we'll get a little bit of a report. He's got 4 ships, a CV, and 3 battleships. So that's 4 units at a minimum. That means Manila is blockaded. That means no supplies are getting into Manila. For these 1 island hexes, 1 ship. You put 1 group, 1 naval group, 1 ship right there, and they're going to get blockaded. That means a unit on there is not getting supply. That means even if I had a unit here, he's not getting any supply. He's not getting any reinforcements, and a unit out of supply is it fights so much worse than a unit that is in supply. In fact, we're going to go look here. I'm going to tell you exactly how bad off a unit that is not in supply is as soon as this loads. Okay, here we go. Let me look here. I can look. I got to find the right table. The manual that when you get the game, it has a bunch of tables that you can look at, and you can see exactly all the nice little things that you need to see. And the manual has been improved. Let's just say it's been improved a lot so that you can really tell a little bit. To give you an idea, a land unit with 0 supply takes an additional 10% effectiveness loss. So land units lose 20% of their strength. It takes an additional 10% effectiveness loss when it does something. Naval units can't attack and defend at 50% effectiveness. That's for out of supply. A land unit with one supply takes an additional 10% effectiveness loss anytime it does something, anytime it moves. But other than that, it can operate normally. So you can see that, hey, if you've got 1 point worth of supply, you got to be careful. If you ain't got no supply, and like I said, so let's say we had a Marine garrison there. Say this Marine garrison there, it's got 3 points. They attack. It's going to lose maybe some strength. It's going to maybe lose some effectiveness. Next turn, it's got 2 points of supply. Means when they attack, it's going to lose a little bit more effectiveness. Then the next turn, it'll only have 1 point of supply. And it's not getting any supply, so then turn after that, it's going to have 0 supply, which means it's even worse off. And anytime it tries to attack or defend, it's losing even more effectiveness, so it's getting wore down and it will die quickly. So you want to watch out for units out of supply. Now, like I said, all these guys, see, he's got 2 supply. He's not going to be getting any supply, and he's only got 10% effectiveness. He's got a lot of strength, but he's got no effectiveness, means he's probably going to die real quick. Next turn, since he's not getting supply, he's going to be down to 1. If we could find a way to get supply in here, it would be great. Anyway, we're looking at what Japan did. So they did all these invasion. Now they did a carrier strike. And we can see the Kaki, Shogu, Zukoku, Kaga, Soyu, Hiryu, they all attacked. And in defense was all these ships. They did a port strike. And we can see exactly what they did. They did 2 points to the Swordfish, 2 points to the New Orleans, 1 point to the Tennessee, 1 point to the Pennsylvania, and they bottomed Oklahoma. It means it's not sunk, but it's sunk at its pier. Means it's got to be fully repaired before it can be moved. That was one operation point. They did another operation point. So they used all their operation points. That means this guy, he's stuck right here. He can't move. They didn't move him away. We'll talk about this here in a minute. You see they did. Now they sunk the California. They bombed the Pennsylvania, 2 points to the Arizona, 2 points to the West Virginia, 2 points to the Maryland. Basically, the U.S. Pacific Fleet is wrecked. Okay, they did a naval airstrike. Units out of Formosa, which we don't see them now, they went somewhere. Be interested to know where they went. It struck, it lost 1 point. Now, does that mean it lost a strength point? Could that be it lost effectiveness? Don't know. But it seriously damaged. Now, the Houston ships are real simple. Carriers have most ships have 3 points. Battleships have 4. So the Houston cruiser, it's got 3 points. That means it took 2 out of 3, so it's almost sunk. Then they bottomed it. Means it's got to be fully repaired before it can move. Now, the thing is, this port's not getting supply. It's not going to get repaired. So we have to be able to get this port to get supply to get the Houston repaired. And if we can't get it repaired and out before they move in and take the port, we'll lose it. And as we're going to see, we're not going to be able to move these ships. The Houston basically, even though it's just bottomed, it's sunk at the pier and we're not going to have time to repair it. They did a naval strike. Okay, let's talk about something here. In reality, what happened was the Prince of Wales was a battleship, 1940 battleship, brand new battleship, and they had the battle cruiser Repulse with it right here at Singapore. And they heard, well, the Japanese are landing up here, And on about December 10th, they went to go find the Japanese uh, transport fleet, and they were supposed to get air cover from land-based units. Well, there was a mistake. Now, this is on December 10th, and they did not receive air cover. They were spotted by some Japanese land-based bombers out of Indochina. This is Indochina. And they were sunk. Both the Prince of Wales and the battlecruiser Repulse were sunk right out here. And this is really kind of major. Before this, people could say, well, yeah, the battleships at Pearl Harbor, they were in port. Look, come on now. They were in port. It's not a fair test. Put them out in the sea, and the carriers wouldn't have been able to do nothing because the battleships could have maneuvered and done all this. Well, this was the nail. This was the final nail in the coffin of the idea that the battleship ruled the seas. This proved it was air power and air power alone. Everybody thinks aircraft carriers are great, and they are. And they are one of the most important naval units you have. But the reason they're important is because they project air power. World War II, specifically the Pacific Theater, is a great example of the proof that, hey, air power is where it's at. If you want to know how good you're doing in this game, where's your air power at? How are you doing? Anyway, this game really can't put because of the scale. Like I said, this is December 7th. Next turn is December 21st. So what do you do with the Prince of Wales and the battle cruiser Repulse? You don't really want to make the Allied player have them out to sea. You want to give them an option. So what they do is they put them in port, and the Japanese get to bomb them while they're in port. And that's what they're doing here. They did 1 point to the Prince of Wales, then they did another 2 points to the Prince of Wales. They did take a loss. So they damaged the Prince of Wales. If I click off this, and look, we can see the Prince of Wales is pretty seriously hurt. The Repulse is pretty much okay. I want to look and see this guy. 4 ships, 0 CC, 0 CVs, 1 BB. Or 0 BBs. I wonder what he's got here. Well, we may find out. We may try something. But anyway, back to what the Japanese are doing. So the Japanese naval struck there. Then they invaded Bandar Lamping. The Japanese 11th, 12th NLF stands for Naval Landing Force. They're Marines. They had 9-1 odds when they invaded the South Sumatra garrison. Subordinate, that's the general that was in charge. Really no generals in charge. And you see all the modifiers you get. And this unit shattered. Destroyed, shattered, and surrendered. Shattered units mean some of the production and some of the logistics and some of the manpower will go, well, all the logistics, I think, but some of the production, some of the manpower will make its way back to the country in question. Surrendered, you don't get nothing. Of course, destroyed, you don't get nothing. Shattered, kind of, they retreated, but it's a haphazard retreat. There's really no organization. That's why the unit's not there. But that's why you get some of the stuff back. They suffered minor losses, one strength point. Okay, they also got naval bombardment. When you put a navy besides an attacking X, it will bombard. Then they did Warland Combat. This is the city of Yan'an, and this unit is holding off. And you can see now this guy, This guy's under General Yusuji Okamura. And somewhere in here, there's a headquarters hex. There's a headquarters unit. This is a headquarters unit. We'll look at that here in a minute. In fact, this headquarters unit probably is the headquarters for that guy. We'll look at that. And headquarters units are important. They do a lot of good stuff, but we can't tell because we don't have enough reconnaissance. Like, for instance, we know this is an infantry unit. We don't know what that is. We know this is an air unit, but we don't know what kind of air unit this is. It looks like they have put all their air in China. They may be making a China push. Remember, we put them on random, so they may be making a China push. But anyway, right here, and it highlights the hex for you. The first army under Yasuji Okamura at 2-to-1 odds. 2-to-1 odds is not great odds. If you attack on land, 3-to-1 odds is really about the minute. 2-to-1 odds, the defender has a slight advantage. 1-to-1 odds, the offender has in anything less than that, the offender has an advantage. 3-to-1 is about the minimum. That's a minimum okay. That's an okay an attack. 7-to-1 odds means you're going to automatically overrun the other guy. They attacked at 2-to-1 odds. I had all these little bonuses. I was entrenched. I was in hills. I had a city, 34th Army, and it is under who's the you? Who's the you? The attacker took 2 losses. Now that may not be strength losses. It may be he took 1 strength loss and some effectiveness, but basically when the combat rolled up, he took 2 losses. My guy, he took 1. We'll look real quick. Click this. Now, see the little flag? These are the units he commands. This is Chinese 9th War Area. Huyu? I'm not sure. I apologize for pronouncing it incorrectly. He commands this army, and he uses these combat values, or these values to help it. We'll talk more about what those are in a minute. But let's go back and keep looking what the Japanese did. Okay, we're there. Okay. They did another land combat against this guy. This time the odds were not nearly as good, 1-to-1. And he suffered more losses. I didn't suffer any. He did a ground strike. That means air units flew and tried to attack this unit on the ground. Now, I have the Flying Tigers. This is this air unit right here. And if you'll notice, let me zoom in here. It's got this little square. It means it's on full support. And this little diagram tells me it's an air superiority unit. And this is the Flying Tigers. And because it was in support, and because this was in its range, when this unit went to attack, what the game did is it looked, well, does he have any air superiority units in range? Yes. Is it over 50% effectiveness? Yes. So it automatically flew in defense and tried to intercept the Japanese air units. The Japanese 29th Air Brigade took 1 point worth of losses. The Flying Tigers took 4 points worth of losses. So you can see in air-to-air combat, well, actually, if you look at it, they had the 29th Air Brigade and the 12th Air Division attacking. Probably what happened was his bombers came in to attack, and he had an air superiority unit that automatically, which I would say that's probably this 12th Air Division, automatically escorted them in. So there's a big air combat between the Flying Tigers and the bombing group and the escort, and the Flying Tigers did not do so well. The 29th Air Brigade, which I think that is the bombers, took 1 loss. The Flying Tigers took 7. Now, that may not be they took 7 strength points. Again, they may have lost 1 or 2 strength points and then lost the rest in effectiveness, but effectiveness can make your units shatter. They can make your units, probably the Flying Tigers are not going to be able to react automatically after that. And then the defending army lost 1. They did another ground strike against the same guy. This time they didn't do anything. Then they did another ground strike. Again, they didn't do anything. Then they tried attacking it with well, they attacked it with air support. And the 18th Brigade at 2-1, I had a lot of odds because I'm in a city, I'm on hills, I'm entrenched, and the attackers took pretty good losses, didn't take any. But every time they attack, this unit loses effectiveness. So its effectiveness, then they attacked again. Yeah, they attacked twice. Again, took some heavy losses. They invaded, there was a unit at Rabaul, so they invaded and then they attacked it. 9-1 odds. That unit was destroyed. In other words, I'm not getting any of its stuff. They attacked Wake Island, 5-1 odds. They destroyed the unit. Well, the first attack didn't do anything. The second attack, they destroyed the unit, but they weren't able to move in. So my guy's gone. They attacked Kuala Kodabaru at 13-1 odds. The unit shattered. They took a little bit of losses. Then they attacked down here. I had a unit here. One of these, I think it's this. Nope. Yeah, it has to be this guy right here. 40th, 33rd, yep, 33rd Army. They attacked at 5-1 odds. I was entrenched in a forest. Didn't matter. He took 1. I took 2. They attacked again. And you can look here. They attacked him. He took some losses. They took some losses. He held. They attacked him again. He still held, but took more losses. And then they attacked him, and he was forced to retreat. They attacked Hong Kong. And then they attacked. I had a land unit here. They attacked. He held. And then finally, and then I think it's this unit right here. Yep, he had to retreat. And then they attacked here. He held. Then they attacked here. He held. He held. He held again. And then he held again. And then finally he had to retreat. That's the 16th Army. And you can see where he's at now. 6 out of 30, 72%. He's not doing very good. The Chinese units are not that good. They attacked the 18th Division. He held. That's good. And they attacked him again and he held. And you could go back and through and see how many strength points the Japanese have lost. But that's how you can go back through and you can see everything. And you click this and you can even see the movement. And you can see everything that the Japanese did on their turn. Seriously, you can tell it the end turn, click yes, walk away, and come back and still be able to tell everything that the Japanese did. Well, maybe not everything you can see with your reconnaissance and know who attacked, where they attacked, what damage they did. And now, believe it or not, we're going to start the actual American turn, the Allied turn, actually. And you will have to decide how you want to do it. I like starting over here in India and working my way across the map. Now, as India, there's a couple of things I want to do. First, I want to keep the Japanese from getting this oil, and I want to keep it for myself. Second of all, this road right here, up through here, this is the Burma Road. And every turn, without me doing anything, without it taking from the Allies, China is provided 5 production points and 1 oil. So I want to keep this open. Now I'm going to keep him. Now you look here, 5 out of 10, 97% effectiveness. He's got a good effectiveness. He ain't got many hit points, but I'm going to keep him on garrison because I don't want him to move. I just want him to defend, and he's going to defend and get reinforcements as a garrison just as much as he is if he was active. So there's no reason for me to move him. Also, if you see right here, he's got an entrenchment level of 2. That provides a big time bonus to him in defense. I see no reason to move him, but I do need to move some other units. This guy, 14th Division. Now, this guy is doing great. He's 100%, 10 out of 10. I'm going to move him down here. I want to protect this crossroads because, see, the Japanese units, and that's a Thai unit, they're moving up because they're going to want to break this road. And I want to move this guy. I want to put him to be active. Now, you notice, first off, he's in great shape. You can see it highlighted in green there. 10 out of 10 strength, 100% effectiveness. He's only a brigade. Basically, he's equivalent in strength to a division. Division and brigades kind of sometimes are treated equally in this game. But he could move next turn. He ain't gonna be able to move this turn. But these guys are moving through jungle. They're gonna have. They're probably not. They're probably gonna just get up to this Salween River, and probably not get very further than that. So I'm gonna be able to get him down here. This guy, we're gonna make him active. We're gonna make him. We're making all these units active, and then this guy, we're gonna move him. Now this is our headquarters unit. This is General George Giffard. And now we're going to talk a little bit about that. Well, we're going to move him here first. We're going to move him here. And next turn, see, he wasn't on a railroad or a road. So we could not rail him. Next turn, we'll be able to rail him, and we'll probably be able to get him up to about right here. By that time, these units will have moved. General George Giffard. Okay, he is Combat 6, Mobility 6, Tenacity 6. Combat, this is a combat value that he adds to the units. It's not that he adds 6 combat value. This is kind of a measure of how good he is. 1 to, let's say, 10. Really, 9 would be more realistic. Well, he's a 6, means he's pretty good. Tenacity, how quickly is he gonna have a unit retreat or surrender? Japanese units, you'll see them with 8s and 9s and 7s all the time. He's got a 5, means about average. Mobility, be honest with you, I can't remember what mobility does. I'll be honest with you, I don't really worry about it too much. We're going to look at it here. The general has a chance to increase mobility or combat attributes. So basically, maybe it's mobility affects the chance of retreating. Tenacity affects the intensity of combat and the chance the defender surrenders in low attacks with a less than 34% chance to retreat. So tenacity, there's less than 34% chance of retreat. This is how quickly the unit's going to surrender. Like I said, Japanese generals have 7s, 8s, 9s. They don't really surrender that quick. Mobility, how quickly he retreats, affects his chances of retreat, and combat affects how well each general is at inflicting damage on the enemy and reducing damage to their to their units, he's not bad. This air unit, we're going to rebase it. Now, this air unit has a range of 6, so it can move 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's its effective combat range. But it can actually move further because I can use 2 moves. And see, it's on a rail. I could rail, and now it's highlighted all the way over to here. We're going to rail it all the way over to there. Now you look, I had 30. That took 7 points because it's a 7 strength. So I've only got 23 rail left. We're going to rail this guy. It's going to take 10. We're going to run there. Now notice he did not change his garrison status. So we will have to get him out of garrison. Uh, I and the AI, I do not believe is going to come all the way over here and evade all the way over here. So we're going to rail this guy. He's only going to take 3. He needs to be built up a lot. We're going to move him here. Now, the truth is, if I was playing the AI, I might rail him to run in these spots. Or if I was playing a player may try to invade right here. But I'm playing the AI. The AI ain't that smart. No AI is that smart. We're going to put him right here. And we're going to see, we're going to move this guy right here just because why have him up there? And let's get him down here. He can't really do anything because the only thing he can control is UK units. And, well, there are no UK units, and there's not going to be for some time. That is Archibald Wavell, and you can see his numbers. The UK is down here. Now, there can only be stacking limits. I never mentioned stacking limits. 1 air unit, 1 land unit to a space. Naval units can stack up to a stack of 20, but you can only have 6 carriers into a stack or 5 submarines in a stack. So we're going to move this guy right there, just keep him right there, because see, he can't move to that spot because that's a land unit. I could have these guys switch, no reason. Now, UK does not have any transports. And we're going to go look here. UK does not get transports, see UK flag, till March. So we're going to take this guy so we know till March, this guy ain't moving. We're going to put him on garrison mode, save some, give us a little bit more production, give us a little bit more supply. You cannot put these guys in garrison mode. And you can call for tactical. You could tell them repair or repair and reinforce this guy for all his units. You could tell him to hold and defend, all these good things. So that's about all. We're going to put this Madras unit here on garrison mode because I don't want him moving. These Indian units, they are already in support mode. And now let's look at our fleets. We got the Cornwall, and we got the Hermes, the Revenge, and the Exeter. Okay, the Hermes is a light carrier. It's got 10% experience, which I thought was a bug and which I thought was supposed to be fixed. I thought it's supposed to have 50%. I'm probably going to get on. No, maybe he kept it at 10%, but I thought it was supposed to be 50% experience. We'll see. And we're playing the latest version, so I don't know. You'll notice a CVL has the same strength. It's got the same strength of air, and it should be probably 50% experience. So it makes it sound like, well, hey, a normal CV has 6 strength. A normal CV has 6 strength of air. A normal CV has 3 strength. What's the difference then? between a CV and a CVL, and that is in combat value. If I click off these guys, well, it ain't going to show me, is it? If I click right here, so I'm sorry, I'm having problems. Air Combat at 3, Strategic 1, Naval Air 4, Defense 6, a CVL, a normal CV, I mean, has like an Air Combat of like 5 or 6, Naval Air of like 8, and it's got higher numbers, which means it's going to attack better, it's going to defend better. So, no, they're not the same. Now, we're going to take the Cornwall and we're going to put it right here and get all these units in one spot. Now, what could we we can do anything with these guys. We could bring them over here and do an airstrike against these land units that might possibly uh, slow them down. Might even possibly cause them a little bit of damage. Probably not going to cause them any damage. Hopefully, it might slow them down. Now, if we did that, there's a couple things we got to watch out for. First off, if we could put our cursor here, we could see we have reconnaissance medium. Means we probably know there's no Japanese naval units here, but if there was, they could respond and get us in combat. If there was a Japanese air unit here, they could react and bomb us. And to give you an idea, the Hermes is carrying probably about 30, 40, 50 planes. Naval air, a land-based air unit like this right here, probably about 300. So 300 against my little CVL, my CVL is going to die. Probably, honestly, everything else is with it is going to die too. Another thing we can do with them, and I wouldn't want to use the battleship or the cruisers for that, but I could park them right here on this convoy route. And because it's a CVL and it's got all those nice air units, it would act as a plus 1%. We'll talk about how convoys work when we get to convoy screen. But basically, we'll just say it would add to my escort's abilities to escort my convoys and prevent Japanese units from doing damage. Now, right now, I'm not going to do anything with them. It costs oil. I don't think the Japanese have a submarine over here to do that. I don't want to risk my CV right now just to attack some. I moved them. So let's go up here. Right there, I undid my move. I'm going to leave them there because also when I move them, that cost oil. And right now, they don't have a lot of oil. When I flew this guy, it cost India oil. They had 14. I bet you they had more than that before I flew them. I didn't pay attention. You can rewind and find out if I'm right. There, there's nothing I can do down here. I mean, I can attack this guy at 0 to 1 odds. There's no use in me moving him. Down here, I wish we could save this air unit, but once the Dutch East the Netherlands and Dutch East Indies falls, this air unit goes away. So I might as well use him now. Right now, he's at 80% effectiveness, 20 to 20 strength. He's a pretty good unit. He's got a 1 naval air combat. He's got a good air combat value and only 1 tactical because he's fighters. There's really not a lot he can do against land. If they were coming in with airplanes, man, he'd be great. I'm going to put him on full support. Now, notice I got the triangle. That means he's going to automatically defend. And I'm going to bomb some ships. And I want to look here. I'm going to click off of him. I've got 2 ships, 0 CVs, 1 BB. I got 4 ships. I don't know what they are. I got 1 ship. I'm going to bomb this now. See, I ain't got really a whole lot I can do with him. I'm going to airstrike this. Now, okay, now you see it pops up, and I got it on long delay. Let's see. Now, see, I push this battle. It brings it back up. The the DEIF, Dutch East Indies Air Force, did not lose anything. The Japanese did not lose any air. I damaged 3. I sunk 1. That was a wonderful attack. I've still got 1 operation point left. And I want to go look and see exactly what I did. Oh, this is our turn. This is what's happened this turn. There's more parts activity. We can't do anything. There was a convoy attack. We automatically have convoys. We know we have all these resources up here. They're still ours. And this unit is the cruisers, 2 battle cruisers. We don't have any escorts on this convoy route. And they sunk one of my merchant ships. I wish I could turn this. You can't turn this convoy route. It's supplies, resources. We can't turn it off. And there's really, unless we put escorts on there, there's not a lot we can do. And we'll show how to do escorts here in a minute. But that naval strike we just did is this right here. It sunk the 11th Light Cruiser and DD Squadron. And there's the Yamoto Battleship. The Yamoto and its sister ship, the Mitsu, were the biggest battleships ever built. Forget Bismarck, forget the U.S. Iowas. They were 60,000 ton behemoths. They had 18.1-inch guns. To give you an idea, the Iowas were about 60,000 tons with 16-inch guns. These were massive, massive ships. Normal battleships have 4 strength points. The Yamoto and the Mutsu have 5 points. That was such a good attack. Now, I have 1 operation point. If this was a bomber, if this Dutch East Indies air unit was some kind of bomber, something besides an air superiority unit, I could put it in naval supply, put it in support, and anytime some guy moves in, he would attack. He would also, within a range of 4, that's 1 hex, 2 hex, 3 hex, 4 hex, he would do what's called supply interdiction. The Japanese have taken this port. They're going to be getting supplies automatically coming into this port. And if this was a bomber unit, he would automatically, as long as I leave 1 operation point, attack those supply convoys coming in that would use oil and damage some of the supplies coming in. Now, honestly, I just as soon have him attack. He's going to do an airstrike over here against this guy. This time, he did nothing. It pops up, and there's no way to get that number back, but it pops up, shows your losses in yellow, their losses in red, and you can kind of see sometimes, but you can see right there, didn't do nothing. I attacked 1 ship. I don't know what ship I attacked, but there's that. The Philippines. Well, let's get this air unit out there. Now, it's got that, if you see right there, it's got an oil symbol. That means the U.S. is low on oil. I've got 15 oil. That means using this guy is going to cost me oil. Now, you see here, I could do a land air strike. I could strike, and if he had an air unit, I could strike somewhere. Or I could strike all these ships he's got. This thing right here, you see where it's got coastal? That represents, I can tell you now, this is like PT boats, motor torpedo boats, small ships. But we need to get this guy out of there. We're going to rebase him right here, and you can see right away it highlights where he can go. I want to put him right here, and now I have used because he was out of supply. He did not have any supply. He only had one Remember, they got this thing blockaded. He only had one operation point, but now he's going to be getting supply through the Devo, and he's going to get both his operation points next turn, and maybe we can bomb something. Now the Houston's bombed. There's nothing we can do. We've got 2 submarines. Now I'm going to move them out. And now if I move 6 hexes or less, see right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 axes. It's got that little black symbol. It's a night move. It's a day move. Night move, day move. So I can have them move out at night. That protects them. I can also put them in raider mode, telling them, hey, and you see I got a little symbol, kind of a zigzag symbol. Hide. Don't be looking for battle. So I'm going to move them out. I'm going to move them out in raider mode and at night, and hopefully they don't. And you notice they didn't get attacked. Now, if he had a fleet within five hexes of this guy. Well, this is submarines. I want to take that back. If this was a surface fleet and he had had a naval unit within 5 hexes, he could have attempted to spot and attack my unit. So you look here, 1, 2, from this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he could have attempted to intercept and attack. Could this guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, he could have. This guy's a coastal unit. He's got to stay along the coast. And that's really, well, this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, way too far away. So these 2 guys could have intercepted. Now notice it's based upon where my unit ends, not where my unit traveled. Yeah, so it's 5 points with where this unit ends. If there is an air unit within 10 hexes, that air unit can try. So if he had an air unit here at Quang Nagai, yeah, again, forget my pronunciation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, an air unit there that was on support, was on naval, could have attacked if this was a surface unit. These are submarines. They have very special rules. They're very complicated rules. Just need to know right now, there's really very little chance that they can get attacked or get found, especially when they're in raider mode. And we're going to leave them right where they're at. Now, anything else in here? Nope. And so there's that. There's nothing. I could pull this unit back, but he can't go into Manila. I could be try to be sneaky, move him around, but all that's going to do is move him out of the port. There's really no use of doing anything with him. I want this guy sitting right where he's at that port, protecting supply. So there's nothing I can do there. We're going to come back to Australia. The U.S. West Coast. Now, again, these units aren't going anywhere. The U.S. does not get transports till late March even. So, and a transport cost 1 point for 1 point strings. So when this guy is up to full, right now, he'd take 15 transports. I only get 10 on March 23rd. When he's up to full, he's going to take 30 transports to move. I'm going to go ahead and put him in garrison. He ain't going nowhere. Same thing for this guy. I'm going to move him, get him close to San Francisco, get him ready to move. Put him in garrison. This guy's 2nd Marine Corps. It shows him being in garrison, kind of the image, but well, it's light. That's black. That's light. Marines you can't put in garrison. Okay, the bomber units you can't put in garrison. Ships. What do I got? I got a couple DDs, strength 3. They're full, ready to go. I got the Grayling, a submarine. You notice it's got a supply of 8. It's a long range submarine. It can stay out a long time. We're going to take that Grayling and we're going to start moving it. We're going to move it in raider mode. Where do I want to move it? That's the question. We're going to move it. We're going to go as far as we can go, which is right there. And then next turn we can move it up into here or wherever. So what do we got going now? We got destroyers. And now we're going to put them, we're going to park them right on this convoy route right here. Now what that does is these guys, I'm going to assign some escorts on my convoy screen. I'm going to assign some escorts to escort all my convoys that are taking this route and going down here, taking resources and production and supply to Australia and New Zealand. And these guys are going to add to those escorts' ability to protect that convoy. I'm going to put these guys on that. And now I don't know, I think, well, I'm not going to say, I'm not sure. But I'm not one of these guys might not help within their range. So this guy, if there's a submarine within 24 moves on this convoy route, within 24 axis of this convoy route, this guy, he won't move, but he will help my escorts. So that's good. And then I'm going to keep this guy back because these guys are going to run out of supply and he's going to move out and take their place when they're ready. What do I got up here? 18th Division, he's going to move down here. Join this guy. So now I've got 2 DDs. They need resupply. They're going to go back up, get resupplied. These guys are going to move out, take their place, and that's how we're going to shuffle them. Hawaii, we've already sort of done. Now we're going to talk about Hawaii. Now, you notice the Japanese unit did not move. Japanese unit did not move. I got this bomber group here. I'm coming. We're going to run a little bit over on this one. Let me go. He's got 5 strength, 33% effectiveness. I can bomb the Kido Butai. Kido Butai was the name for Mobile Strike Force. It was their Pearl Harbor Strike Force. There's 6 big carriers. I can bomb this. But if I do, this unit is going to be either seriously hurt, possibly even destroyed. So it's kind of, do you want to risk that or not? Honest with you, this unit can't really go anywhere. Okay, it doesn't have, it can go down here to Johnston Island. I might be able to get it. Let me see here. How long? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I can get it down to here, but I can't get it to there. It really can't go anywhere. It needs transports. It's not a bombing unit. It's a interceptor. It's fighters. So it's not going to do that good of an attack. And these guys have wonderful planes, fighters to defend their strike force. So these guys are going to get shot down. They're going to die for very little. It's also, I know, that the United States does not have any interceptor fighter groups coming out real soon. So I'm not going to attack with them. I'm going to keep them where they're at because what will happen now is they'll build up strength. Pearl Harbor was a surprise attack, and I'm going to keep them in support mode. In and what will happen next time is if, let's say, in 2 or 3 turns the Japanese come back and want to do an airstrike, this time this unit will come up and defend. If he's not there, there's nothing he can't defend, so why move him? My naval units, I can move them. But if I move them, he's going to get a chance to attack. Or, well, maybe not, but I can move him and attack. I can move him out here. And if I move them out here, and you notice right there it says can't occupy. If I move them out, they can't attack while they're in port. So I can move them out here, but at the end of my turn, at the end of my movement, if there's an enemy fleet 5 hexes away, that fleet gets a chance to attack. Well, he's 5 hexes away because that 5 hexes represents them patrolling. So he's going to get to attack. And he's got 6 EVs. I've got 2 with a bunch of wounded battleships. In fact, really seriously, I don't want to move any of my battleships because they're all badly damaged. So I can move a carrier, 2 cruisers, and what is that? 4 or 5 destroyers. 1, 2, 3, 4 destroyer groups. So I can move them here. But then he would get attacked, and I might do some damage to him, but he's going to do a lot of damage to me, and then I can attack him again with whatever survived, and that is called the Pearl Harbor Gambit. I don't think it's worth it, okay? But I am going to move them out, or do I want to move them out? See, so you got to look at what can they really do. Uh, If I moved them all the way to here, they might be able to get here to Davao next turn, and that would prevent it from getting blockaded. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. Now you notice, because they went by, it's based upon where it ends, not based on their route of travel. If it had something, see, like this air unit, it was probably 5 hexes from where this guy moved, but it couldn't attack. It's where it ends. And, excuse me, he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right there's 10. 11, 12. So it's way too far for this air unit to try to intercept his movement. That's why he gets to move. That's why he did not get attacked. Now we're going to deal with Australia. Now Australia has some pretty good units. Now again, the UK don't get these guys. New Zealand is UK. They do not get transports for forever. So why spend the production? Save a little production. Save a little supply. Let's put these guys on garrison. They defend just as well. Is this guy on garrison? No. Put him on garrison. This guy's not on garrison. Put him on garrison. Like I said, if they can't move, let's just put them on garrison. All right. Now, we have this New Zealand air unit. We're going to put him on support. He does not have a lot of strength. They do not have a lot of oil. It costs oil to move him. Okay? But he is going to move. We're going to move to Henderson Field. Not exactly realistic. The Japanese had to build a field here but we'll forgive him for a little bit. You can Air units can go in clear spaces, clear hexes. See that's clear, that's clear, that's clear. This is for jungle. Could not put an air unit here. This is jungle. Could not put an air unit here. That's jungle. Could not put an air unit there. But in clear hexes and where there's airfields, and you can see there's a little airfield right there on San Cristobal. Uh, and you can purchase those airfields at production. We'll go through that, and uh, you have to have a unit with an engineering unit to do that. Now this guy, I don't believe they're going to move. Don't believe Japan's going to attack him. He's going to rail all the way up here. Now let's look what we got. This guy. Okay, this guy, he's going to rail to a different port, to Rockhampton, meaning this guy is going to be able to move there. This guy is going to rail. Railing just costs you rail points all the way to Townsville. And then this guy, the air unit, he can't rail. We're going to use a little bit of oil, maybe a mistake. We're going to fly him as far as we can fly him, which is up there, and hopefully next turn get him in here. We're going to turn the Portsmouth unit. We're just going to leave him garrisoned. We're just going to leave him garrisoned. Oh, and then we're going to come down here. And we got one last unit to move. Australia has a cruiser, but it needs repair. To be repaired, it's got to be a port 5 or higher. So this is port 7. We can repair at Milbourne. He can repair at Sydney's a port 7. He can repair there. He can repair there. Newcastle, port 3. He cannot repair at Newcastle. So we're going to keep him right at. We're going to keep him right here at Canberra. Let him get repaired. Let him build up his strength. And that's it. That's all the moves we're going to do. In our next episode, we're going to deal with production, research of some of these screens, and seeing what we do on our turn for them. Thank you very much. Leave a comment. See me on the Matrix forums. Tell me something. Till next time.